Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our compilation for our 8 play-in previews. In this video, we will be doing all 8 previews in a single video. It's going to be a very long video, over an hour long. So there are timestamps in the description below. And just enjoy, and we will see you soon, and enjoy the hockey coming up, guys. Enjoy the video, guys. Welcome to our 2020 Stanley Cup playoff prediction and previews. Oh wait, I forgot my bracket. Where's my bracket sheet? Oh no, I forgot my bracket. There it is. Okay, now we're ready. I should have started recording later. Okay. So today is the first day of our Stanley Cup playoff previews. Yesterday we had our full predictions, if you had listened to that. Thank you very much for doing that. And today, Monday, July the 27th, we will be doing the first 2 series from the eastern side of the play-in tournament. Note that we will not be predicting anything with the 8 seeded teams already in the middle, as you see on the screen. Today in this video we'll be previewing Toronto and Columbus. Right now it's 7:30 a.m. when this is premiering, and at 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we will be previewing the next series, which will be Pittsburgh and Montreal. Okay, so let's get started here without further ado. But before that, tomorrow we will be doing the Islanders and the Panthers and the Hurricanes and the Rangers. Wednesday, Calgary Jets, Oilers, Blackhawks. Finally on Thursday, Canucks Wild and Nashville, Arizona. Okay, without further ado, let's really get started for real. With the first series right here, Toronto against Columbus, the 8th and the 9th seeds. This is a very special playoff format in that there are 24 teams, and this is a best-of-5 series. So I'm very excited for this. Anyway, Toronto and Columbus. Game 1 will be on Sunday, August the 2nd in Toronto. So Toronto does have the advantage in that sense, but still, I don't know about that. These teams are at equal points here with 81 points. Blue Jackets are 33, 22, and 15, and that they've lost more games than they've won in total. The Leafs are 36, 25, and 9. Okay, so this top 6 forwards for the Maple Leafs include William Nylander, Austin Matthews, Zach Hyman, Mikheyev, Tavares, and Marner. This is a very good offensive squad. As you saw, Matthews had 47 goals. Nylander had 31 and Tavares had 26. These two lines are very dangerous. I've got to say, very dangerous. However, as you may have noticed from the news, Matthews did test positive for COVID-19, which means that, unfortunately, Austin Matthews, I don't know if he'll be back in time on August the 2nd. Let's assume he is. The defense for the Maple Leafs, Muzzin, Hall, Riley, and Ceci, pretty good right there. The goaltending is the biggest question. We have right here Muzzin, Hall, Riley, and Ceci. We have Anderson and Campbell in the goaltending position. Anderson is 29, 13, and 7. However, he is 2.85 goals and establishing a .909 save percentage. Jack Campbell is 11, 12, and 3, 2.8, .904. As you see, the numbers are a little low for the Maple Leafs. You do see Anderson being 29, 13, and 7, and that's okay, but Even so, the numbers, save percentage, a little low there. As I've said, Toronto's offense is very, very potent, and that's why their power play is 6th in the league. Their penalty killing, as I've said, their lack of defense, and their goaltending makes it a little bit worse for wear. 21st in the league. The season series was 1-1, 7-5 goals scored in favor of Toronto. For Columbus, 33, 22, and 15. Their top 6 forwards are Texier, Dubois, Bjorkstrand, Nyquist, Wenberg, and Atkinson. This is a very low-scoring squad. They only have 125 goals compared to Toronto's 158. The Blue Jackets shoot a lot. However, converting was the issue for this squad. If Toronto can overcome Columbus with their offense, they will maybe win this, but the Columbus Blue Jackets have very good defensemen and pretty good goaltending as well. They have Werenski, Jones, Gavrikov, and Savard. Goaltending, Merzlikins, 923 save percentage, 2.35 goals in the average, one of the best goaltenders. That kind of gave Columbus their points after their fallout in the second half. Korpisalo was actually pretty good as well, with a 911 save percentage and a 2.6 goals in this average. This pause can allow the Blue Jackets to get healthy again, as they lost 352 games lost to injury. They led the NHL in man games lost. They have dealt with the loss of Panarin and Bobrovsky pretty well, I would say. They didn't lose faith in their ability, and they persisted. But can Josh Anderson come back from the summer? It was at a 4 to 6 month recovery period. I don't know. Maybe he'll be back. Blue Jackets have played very, I would say, persistently. They fought for a playoff spot. They lost the 2 biggest stars in the summer, but they persisted, and they were in the playoff hunt before the pause. In that way, if the Maple Leafs do win this, they will face the Bruins for the 3rd straight season, and we all know how much fans would like to see that. However, because of the chip on the shoulder for the Columbus Blue Jackets and the bumbling defense and goaltending from the Maple Leafs, I will give the edge here, shockingly, to the Blue Jackets in 4 games. I just can't see how Merzlikins and Korpisalo can not stop everything. They're very good goaltenders. They allowed the Blue Jackets, with their poor offense, to save them with solid defense. But we will see, won't we? Does anyone even want me to preview Pittsburgh and Montreal? We all know who's going to win, right? Well, I have to do my job here. I have to preview everything, right? Okay. It's not as easy as it seems. Welcome to our second NHL playoff preview for our play-in tournament. Today we'll be doing Pittsburgh and Montreal, the second preview I've done so far in the East. Okay, today, Pittsburgh and Montreal. This series starts, a best-of-5 series, mind you, starts on Saturday, August the 1st in Toronto. Okay, so when the NHL paused, the Penguins were sitting in a very good playoff spot, second in the Metro, 4 points behind the Washington Capitals for the Metro lead. But the Canadiens were going to enjoy their offseason out in the playoffs. However, they are here in the last spot, the 12th spot in the East. Wow. The Penguins, 40, 23, and 6 of 86 points. The Canadiens are 31, 31, and 9, 71 points, 24th in the NHL. They only won 19 of those 31 games in regulation. That's how horrendous this season has been for Montreal. Okay, let's talk about the Penguins. First, we have the top 6 forwards. Gensel, which probably will be back from injury. Crosby, Sheary, Zucker, Malkin, and Rust. It's a pretty good, solid core. You know how good Crosby and Malkin are. And you still have Gensel, Sheary, all those guys. The D-man, Dumoulin, Letang, Pettersson, and Marino. Pretty good there. The goaltending. It's been a little bit of a problem for Matt Murray this season. Murray started the year, struggled, save percentage under 900. Tristan Jarry took over and was named an All-Star game replacement. But it was, in the end, Matt Murray who mostly worked down the stretch. Although they kind of split their games pretty evenly, I would say. But I would think Tristan Jarry will start for the Penguins. Their power play, 19.9%, 16th in the league. Penalty kill, 10th in the league. Alright, let's go to the Canadiens. As I said, 31-9, just on 500. That's never enough to make the playoffs regularly. 19 games won in regulation. The Canadiens did experience 2 8-game losing streaks, a 5-game losing streak, and they're going to break losing 10 of the last 14 games. The Penguins also have lost 8 of their last 11, but this is a several-month pause, and we never know what will happen now. Okay, the top 6 skaters from the Canadiens: Tatar, Philippe Danault, Brendan Gallagher, Jonathan Drouin, Suzuki, and Armia. Their D-man, Sherratt, Shea Weber, Victor Mete, and Jeff Petrie. It's pretty good. I would say the D-men are, quite even. Goaltending, big issue for the Canadiens this season. Carey Price, usually the hero for the Canadiens, kind of dropped the ball this season with a 27-25-6 record, 2.79 goals in average, and a .909 save percentage. And their backup, Lindgren, don't expect him to start. Okay, and the power play is 22nd, and the penalty kill is 19th. The season series went to Pittsburgh 2-1. I don't know. This might be a little harder to predict than you think, but I will go for a pretty obvious answer here, that Pittsburgh is going to win. I would say in 3-game sweep. However, don't take my word for it. What happened to Tampa last season? Well, Pittsburgh didn't win the President's Trophy. Maybe they don't have a curse. Well, anyways, Penguins in 3 games. You know, the graphic on this slide gets better and better with each passing video that goes by. It's amazing that I started with nothing and now I have 24 logos on the screen. Welcome to our 3rd play-in preview. Today we will be previewing the New York Islanders and the Florida Panthers. Really excited for that. Today we have the preview right here for the Islanders and the Panthers. We will start with going over the skaters, D-men, all the players first, and then I'll do a little bit of my own opinion on stuff and the predictions and stuff like that. The Islanders are 35-23-10, 80 points. Their top 6 skaters are Anders Lee, Matthew Barzal, Jordan Eberle, Andrew Ladd, Brock Nelson, and Josh Bailey. Their defensemen, we have Pelech, Nicoletti, Pulock, and Taves. Pelech is listed as a question mark because on my notes right here it says Pelech is injured, but we will likely see him back by August the 1st. Goaltenders, Semyon Varlamov, 19-14-6, 2.62, 914 save percentage. Thomas Greiss is the backup, 16-9-4, 2.74, 913. The Islanders' power play, 17.3%, ranking at 24th. Their penalty kill, 80.7 at 15th. And the Florida Panthers, 35-26-8, 78 points. Their top 6 skaters are Frank Vetrano, Alexander Barkov, Evgeny Dadonov, Jonathan Huberdeau, Eric Holla, and Mike Hoffman. Their D-man Ekblad, Uyghur, Yandel, and Brown. Their goaltenders, the former Blue Jackets Sergei Bobrovsky, 23, 19, and 6, 3.23, 900 save percentage. And then we have Dredger, their backup, which looks pretty good on the numbers, 7, 2, and 1, 2.05 goals against average, and a 938 save percentage. The power play ranks 10th with 21.3%, and their penalty kill is at 78.5%, which is 20th. The Islanders did sweep the season series 3-0, outscoring the Panthers 8-4. Alright. Neither of these two teams entered this break, in a traditional playoff position. The Islanders were 1 point back of Columbus for the second wildcard spot, and Florida sat 3 points behind the Blue Jackets. The Panthers have had a new coach this year, Joel Quenneville, the former Blackhawks coach. Under their new head coach, the Panthers remained in the playoff bubble, and they were pushing for the playoff spot. But who knows how much further they could be if Sergei Bobrovsky played to his potential like he did in the Blue Jackets, the Columbus Blue Jackets. He only had a 900 save percentage this year, but could he steal his short series? His save percentage, worth of note, in the playoffs is 904, which is not very instilling of confidence to the Florida Panthers. I forget that Bobrovsky's not part of the Blue Jackets anymore. The Islanders are entering a resumption of play on a 7-game losing streak. They have just won twice in their last 13 games. They lost a comfortable playoff position. They were leading the Metro, leading the Surge, with that 17-game point streak earlier in the season. Why? Adam Pelech. That is why. When Adam Pelech was injured, sidelined for a long period of time, months, that's when the Islanders had their downfall, and that's how those losing streaks started to occur. And they found themselves out of a playoff spot. Very, very drastic change. Definitely. The offense will rely heavily for the Panthers on Alexander Barkov, Dadonov, Huberdeau, Hoffman. They have received good depth production, with Noah Chari potting in 20 goals, Brent Connolly for 19, Frank Vetrano for 16. Other injuries include Johnny Boychuk and Casey Zizekas for the Islanders. I don't know how I'm going to implement that. My top 6 skaters is all I see on the line combinations as of the day I'm recording this on July the 15th. A big factor here will be the net battle between Bobrovsky and Semyon Varlamov. The Islanders netminder is a 914 save percentage and a 900 for Bobrovsky. However, if the New York Islanders can get their offense going, they are the third fewest 5-on-5 goals scored among the return-to-play teams. If they could get their offense going, the Florida Panthers will be in a world of hurt. However, as I see the skaters and the D-man and the stats, they look pretty close. Special teams, pretty similar. The Panthers bet on the power play, the Islanders bet on the penalty kill. It's going to be a very balanced approach, and goal scoring might be a little bit minimal, as both these teams are not the highest scoring teams. The Panthers are a little edge in that case. However, I will give the defense edge to the Islanders with Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock. That combination, that duo, was amazing during the start of the regular season. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for my preview here. The first game here is Saturday, August the 1st in Toronto at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay guys, this is our final Eastern Conference play-in preview. This might be the most tense matchup through the Eastern Conference out of all these 4 teams. It's going to be very close between the Hurricanes and the Rangers. And today we will do the preview for that. Hurricanes and Rangers, welcome to today's video. We will go over the skaters, the D-men, and the goaltenders for these two teams, and then we'll go through the storylines and then my prediction at the end. So the Carolina Hurricanes are 38-25-5. They have 81 points. Their top six forwards are Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, Teuvo Teravainen, McGinn, Stahl, and Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7 in the making. Their top four D-men are Jacob Slavin, Dougie Hamilton, Brady Shea, and Sami Vatanen. Their goaltenders, Petr Mrazek and James Reimer. Their power play is 23% at 8th in the league. Their penalty kill, one of the best in the league, 84%, 4th in the league. On the other end, the New York Rangers. They are 37-28-5 with 79 points. Their top six forwards are Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Pavel Buchnevich, Artemi Panarin. That's supposed to be Dylan Strome, yes, I have another typo. Let me check my notes, no, it's Ryan Strome, but Dylan Strome's in Arizona. I'm sorry for these technical difficulties, I typed these up pretty quickly. We will fix that after this video, but bear with me, you know who I'm talking about. The top four defensemen are Smith, Trouba, Lindgren, and Fox. Goaltenders, they have three, I think. I don't know which two are going to play at each game. But we have Igor Shesterkin, Henrik Lundqvist, and Alexander Georgiev. Their power play is 22.9% and 7th in the league, and their penalty kill is 77.4%. Okay, so let's go over some storylines. It was a very tight race in the bottom of the Metro, as well as for one of the Eastern Conference 2 wildcard spots. The Hurricanes played 68 games and got 81 points, and they were in the top wildcard spot with 2 games in hand of the Rangers. The Rangers were 2 points behind Carolina. The Rangers is in a franchise transition of more of a... We thought they were going to rebuild at the start of the year because they played very poorly. They have some youth with some prime age veterans, and it was a pretty good step for the Rangers throughout the season. There are lots of decisions for the Rangers to make in the offseason. We have Artemi Panarin, a Hart Trophy candidate this year. Because Zibanejad, he scored a career-high 41 goals. And of course, Tony DeAngelo on the defenseman. He's not on the list, but he had 53 points on the year. Chris Kreider hit 20 goals in the 5th time in the last 6 seasons. And Adam Fox played his way into the Calder discussion with 42 points. The Hurricanes were one of 2 NHL teams to vote against the return-to-play proposal. As they were already in a playoff spot, they felt it was unfair for a team that was already in a playoff spot with an extra round to participate in. It's unfortunate, but that's how this works in this special time. The Hurricanes are heading into the break with a 3-game winning streak, and we're feeling pretty confident. Goaltender. The Rangers have Igor Shesterkin. He is 10-2-0, as you see. My oh my, has he been a saving grace for the New York Rangers' subpar defense. The Rangers' goaltender will be busy. The Hurricanes fire a lot of shots, and they will be tasked with facing a very tough offense. With Sebastian Aho, Teravainen, and Svechnikov leading the way. Carolina is a very possession-like team. They possess a lot of the puck throughout a lot of the game. But like Montreal, their own zone, their defense is a little bit where the issues develop. Their defense is, in fact, much better than the Rangers, but goaltender has been a little subpar. Petr Mrazek, 905 save percentage, and Reimer, 914 save percentage. And they've allowed a lot. Their amount of shots they faced are the fewest in the NHL, yet their save percentage not that high. The season series, as you see here, is the Rangers leading at 4-0, outscoring the Hurricanes 15-9 in those 4 meetings. Now, Carolina has been plagued with leg injuries to Dougie Hamilton and Sami Vatanen. They will be back, which means their defense will be bolstered with those 2 back on the ice. Brett Pesce, I don't know if he will be back from his shoulder surgery. His timeline was 4 to 6 months back in March. Chris Kreider fractured his foot on February 28th, but he should be able to return to the lineup. What are the biggest storylines here? Will this be a proving point for Adam Fox? Will this be a Brady Shea series? Will this be a story of Igor Shesterkin? He returned from injuries from a car accident just before the pause. Or will Coach David Quinn go with Alexander Georgiev, who is the goaltender who pulled much of the weight in the New York Rangers' struggle and played pretty well occasionally. Henrik Lundqvist has only made 1 start since February the 3rd, and the veteran may not be here this time. Okay, my prediction here, based on defense and the offense. Offense, I'd say, is pretty even. Defense, I give to the Hurricanes. Goaltenders, I would give, if Igor Shesterkin does end up starting, I'll give the edge there. Special teams, definitely Carolina. Season series, I'm not even going to count that because that doesn't matter because it's a whole new game. My prediction here is that the Carolina Hurricanes will pull this one out. I would say in 4 games, but however, this will be a very tight series. It might be 5 games, but I'm predicting 4. I don't think the Rangers' defense can handle the Hurricanes' skaters. It's very tough. I don't think Igor Shesterkin or Georgiev or maybe Lundqvist can handle that weight. However, the Rangers have a strong offense. They might have to determine on that to see if they can cancel out everything that Carolina brings. It's going to be a great series. Alright, so Game 1 will be Saturday, August the 1st in Toronto at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start the Western Conference play-in previews. So it's going to be very exciting. We are going to start today with the Flames and the Jets and Calgary and Winnipeg. We will, as usual, go over the numbers and the skaters and the defensemen, goaltenders, all that. And then we will go over the storylines after we go over the numbers. The Flames are 36-27-7, have 79 points, but they are, I believe, in a divisional spot. That is why the Flames have home ice advantage, even though they have less points than the Jets. And also because of their points percentage, because they have played 2 less games than the Winnipeg Jets. So therefore, the Flames have a higher points percentage and they get home ice advantage here. Their top 6 forwards are Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, Elias Lindholm, Andrew Mangiapane, Mikael Backlund, and Matthew Tkachuk. Their top 4 defense are Mark Giordano, Rasmus Anderson, TJ Brody, and Travis Hamonic. Their goaltenders are Cam Talbot and David Riddick. They are 12th in the league with 21.2% on the power play, 8th in the league in the penalty kill with 82.1%. The Winnipeg Jets on the other end are 37, 28, and 6 of 80 points. Their top 6 forwards are Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Nikolai Ehlers, Cody Eakin, and Patrick Laine. Their top 4 defense are Morrissey, DeMello, Kulikov, and Pionk. Their goaltenders are Connor Hellebuyck and Laurent Brossoit. They're 15th in the league with 20.5% on the power play, 22nd in the league with 77.6% on the penalty kill. The Jets won the season series 2-1, outscoring the Flames 6-4 in those 3 meetings. Okay. Let's talk about some storylines. The Flames offense has been something like a roller coaster this season, and they ranked 20th in the league in goals per game this season. They have a lot of firepower on the front end, and they were one of the most offensively explosive teams in the final month and a half of the season prior to their stop in March. So in January to March, they were very good offensively. However, the start was poor, and that's why they ranked 20th in the league in goals per game. From February to the league pause in March, no team in the league has scored more goals than the Flames at even strength. But the Jets have plenty of firepower too. They rank 17th in goals per game, yet no one is questioning the top 6 with Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Kyle O'Connor, Patrick Laine, and Nikolai Ehlers. A mix of veterans and youngins. I give the forward edge to no one. I think it's pretty even on that end. From a defensive perspective, if you simply look at the goals against numbers, Winnipeg looks better. They rank 10th in goals allowed, and Flames are tied for 16th. However, that number doesn't tell us everything. The Flames have a very strong defensive group with Norris Trophy winner Mark Giordano. But the Jets, they only have more of a young core of defensive group. But they have been bailed out by spectacular goaltending from Connor Hellebuyck this season, so no team in the league really gives up more high danger opportunities than the Jets, so the defense edge will go to Calgary. Special teams, both teams very middle of the pack like. Calgary has a slight edge on special teams. However, the goaltending is where it really shifts in favor of the Jets. Connor Hellebuyck has been by far one of the best goaltenders in the league this season. He's played behind a defense that's opened up to a firing squad on a near nightly basis. Hellebuyck has posted a .922 save percentage in 58 games played. That is amazing. He is essentially the only reason that the Jets are even in the playoff conversation. He should get some Vezina Trophy or Hart Trophy consideration because of that. On the Flames side of goaltender, they have David Rittich and Cam Talbot. David Rittich has got most of the majority of the work in net this season. Or Cam Talbot, who has posted pretty good numbers in a more backup style of role. But I do expect Cam Talbot to start just based on the numbers he has had throughout the season. It doesn't really matter because Calgary will likely be outmatched in the goaltending department, no matter which goaltender they end up playing. Now, based on all of this evidence, who should win this series? I believe defense is an extremely important part of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Jets failed to do so by many accounts. The Flames have a very explosive offensive core and defensive core. It's hard not to imagine them pulling out of the series with a win. However, this is going to be very close as the Jets are very good in offense and they have Connor Hellebuyck to potentially bail them out if they need. So, this is going to be a very tough series. It's going to be very close, but I will give the edge to the Calgary Flames. I'll give them that win in 5 games. As you know, this is a best of five series, so that means it will go the distance, in my opinion. It's going to be very close. It's going to be a very entertaining series. Possibly one of the closest in the West, I believe. There's always Nashville and Arizona, but I believe this is going to be one of the closer series in the West. But we'll see, won't we? Alright, that's going to wrap it up for this preview. Welcome back to our Stanley Cup play-in previews. This is our 6th preview so far. Today will be between the Oilers and the Blackhawks. Now, Edmonton, Chicago. If you haven't checked out our first 5 previews, make sure to check them out. Playlist is in the description below, but if you want to wait until Friday, we will release all 8 previews in one single video. Okay, as usual, we will go over the skaters, the D-men, goaltenders, the numbers first before we go over some storylines. Okay, the Edmonton Oilers are 37-25-9, 83 points. I do believe they were in a divisional spot, but that format is kaput now. Their top 6 skaters are Nugent Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Zach Kassian, Andreas Athanasiou, Leon Draisaitl, and Kailer Yamamoto. Their top 4 defense are Clefbaum, Larson, Nurse, and Bear. Their goaltenders are Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith. My oh my, are the Oilers' special team strong. They have the first ranked power play and the second ranked penalty kill. Chicago on the other end, 32-30-8, 72 points. They are, of course, the last seeded team in the West that made it into these play-ins. Their top 6 forwards are Alex DeBrincat, Jonathan Toews, Brandon Saad, Nylander, Strome, and Kane. Their top 4 defense are Duncan Keith, Boquist, Calvin DeHaan, and Murphy. Now for goaltenders, we are recording this on July the 17th, so I do not know if Corey Crawford is back yet. When I'm recording this, they still are saying that Corey Crawford is unfit to play in training camp. That means, I don't know what that means. Does that mean that he has a bigger issue at hand, or is it just he's not ready to play yet because of his fitness or whatever? Okay. Their backup is Malcolm Subban. Their power play, 28th in the league, and their penalty kill is tied for 8th. The Blackhawks won the season series 2-1, outscoring the Oilers 10-9. The Oilers have one of the best players in the world, Connor McDavid, and also the Art Ross Trophy winner, who will likely be this season's MVP. Leon Draisaitl won 110 points and 71 games played. Oh my goodness. Connor McDavid at 97, just like his number on his jersey. Man, McDavid and Draisaitl. Wow. By the numbers, these teams are in similar standing offensively. Chicago and the Oilers pretty good in goal scoring. The Oilers are 14th in goals per game, but they are 29th in shots per game. The Blackhawks are 18th in goals per game and 13th in shots per game. The Oilers, of course, carried by McDavid and Draisaitl, have one of the most explosive and threatening duos across the entire NHL. However, the biggest problem for the Oilers has been putting the depth around them and finding consistent contributors in the other lines. And Oilers, they're only carried as far as McDavid and Draisaitl can drag them. They're going to have a lot of ice time. However, that being said, the Oilers did find some energy in their depth later in the year with the insertion of Kailer Yamamoto, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was in a little bit of a career year before the shutdown unfortunately cut his campaign short. There's no question that McDavid and Draisaitl will have to carry most of the weight. The Blackhawks still have Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews leading the charge up front, but they will need to be very great for the Blackhawks to make any sort of surprising noise as the 23rd seed in the NHL. There is a lot of youth around them, and their youth will have to come out strong, perform as they were in the season. We have Dominik Kubalik, who has scored 30 goals in 68 games. Dylan Strome, Alex DeBrincat, and Alex Nylander have also done very well as talented young players, as well as Kirby Dach, of course. But the Blackhawks will need to contribute more consistently to be really taken seriously. Their defense, the Oilers ranked 15th in goals allowed per game, and the Blackhawks are right behind them, ranked 16th. The Oilers ranked 20th shots allowed per game, and the Blackhawks rank dead last along all 31 teams, along over 35 shots per game. The Blackhawks are also second in the league in high danger chances allowed. The Oilers are 11th. There's not a ton that separates these two teams defensively. Playing in their own end is not a strong suit for either teams, and there are going to be a lot of big scoring chances. It's just who will be able to hold the fort a teeny bit better. Which brings us to our special teams. The Oilers, 29.5% on the power play. They're 4% better than the second place team, which is the Boston Bruins at 25.2%. However, Chicago's power play has struggled very much. They're 28th in the league with 15.2%. The Oilers, 84.4% of the penalty kill. Chicago, 82.1%. The Oilers are pretty lethal on their special teams and very good at killing penalties. Okay, now for goaltending, we have Chicago, which leads a teeny bit in the goaltending department. They're tied for 4th in the league with a .913 collective save percentage. But if you look at the numbers, how is that .913? They traded away their top performing goalie in Robin Lehner. He had a .918 save percentage in 33 games. They traded him in the trade deadline. Maybe that's not something they thought about because they thought they were going to miss the playoffs. But luckily, Corey Crawford is still a solid option if he does end up coming back. Let me tell you, if Malcolm Subban is the starter, Chicago was going to get swept. But Corey Crawford, if he can come back, the Blackhawks might have a chance. They might. Crawford had a pretty good campaign in this season. He had a .917 save percentage. And in the final 11 games, he put up a .929 save percentage. But he must come back. The Oilers are 14th in NHL collective save percentage. Mikko Koskinen, .917 save percentage, and Mike Smith has a .902 save percentage. So we'll expect Mikko Koskinen to be getting the starter position, but we'll see. Anyways, by all this numbers, I do believe that the Oilers should be able to pull this one through with their very strong offense, but if they're going to get farther into these playoffs, they must rely on their depth more than they have. Because you can't just rely on McDavid and Draisaitl to carry you the whole way. They might carry you a lot of the way, but maybe not the whole way. As you do remember, I did choose the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know if I regret that, but it's just a random thing I threw out there, and I don't know. But the Oilers, I think, will win this one in 4 games, but Chicago might put up a fight. Well, we never know. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Here we go, guys. My favorite team, the Vancouver Canucks, are in action. Today we're going to do the preview, the Canucks and the Wild. Now, our third Western Conference matchup between my favorite team, the Canucks, and the Minnesota Wild. The Wild are 3 spots below the Canucks, even though they only have 1 less point. Goes to show you how 1 point can matter so much. As usual, we will go over the numbers first, and then we'll go over the storylines. The Canucks are 36, 27, and 6 with 78 points. Their top 6 forwards are JT Miller. Great trade, by the way, Jim Betting. People are still complaining about that JT Miller trade for the first round draft pick last year. It's paid off immensely for the Canucks. JT Miller, Bo Horvat, Brock Besser, Tanner Pearson, Elias Pettersson, and Tyler Toffoli. Another pretty good trade as well for Tyler Toffoli. Their top 4 defense: Alex Edler, Tyler Myers, Quinn Hughes, probably a good Calder candidate, and Chris Tanev. In goal, they have Jacob Markstrom and Thatcher Demko. Their power play is 4th in the league at 24.2%. Their penalty killing is 16th at 80.5%. The Minnesota Wild, on the other end, are 35, 27, and 7, 77 points. Their top 6 forwards are Greenway, Stahl, Fiala, Parisi, Eriksson Ek, and Cunnin. Their top 4 defensemen are Ryan Suter, Jared Spurgeon. I think I typed that wrong. It's supposed to be Jonas Brodin. And then Matt Dumba. Their goaltenders, I don't know who's going to start. I would think Alex Stalock is going to start, but Devin Dubnyk and Alex Stalock. Dubnyk, 890 save percentage, 3.35 goals against average. Stalock is 2011-4, 2.67 and a 910 save percentage. Their power play, 11th in the league with 21.3%. Their penalty killing, 25th in the league with 77.2%. This season, the series went to the Wild, but they won one of those 2 games in a shootout, and the scoring was tied at 9 apiece. Okay, both teams rank in the top half of the league in offense. The Canucks are 8th in goals per game, and the Wild are 12th. The Canucks rank 18th in shots per game, and the Wild 25th. The Canucks have a little bit more offense with a very exciting and gifted young core that includes Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, and Bo Horvat. Plus Quinn Hughes on the blue line, a rookie, good Calder candidate for this year. They also have JT Miller, Tyler Toffoli, and Tanner Pearson in the top 6. The Wild scoring load this year was carried by Kevin Fiala, who had a very, very strong bounce-back year in his first season in Minnesota. And, of course, the work of veterans like Eric Stahl, Zach Parise, and Matt Zuccarello. But, based on this, Canucks have pretty good offense, and probably better offense, in this series. In defense, the Canucks gives up slightly fewer goals per game. They give up 3.1 goals per game, ranked 20th. The Wild are 3.14, 24th. The Minnesota Wild ranks 11th in shots allowed per game, and the Canucks struggle to keep the opponent attempts down and rank 28th in shots allowed per game. The Wild have a very good, strong defensive group, very much experienced. Ryan Suter, Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin, and Matt Dumba. They have allowed the lowest number of high-danger chances on net this season, and that means their defense does a very good job of staying structured and very well tuned in their own end, especially around the net. Special teams, the Canucks have a very, very potent power play. They're very effective at drawing penalties. Elias Pettersson, wink wink, to earn those power plays, and they have second most power play opportunities in the league this season. The Wild rank 11th and 21.3%. The Canucks also have an edge in penalty killing. Goaltenders. As you know, the Canucks were struggling as they head in this pause. The Wild were heading in a different direction, a very positive direction, but the Canucks are a very negative direction. And one of those big stories that might give Canucks the edge here in this series is the return of Jacob Markstrom, because this league shutdown allowed him to come back into the lineup for this special play-in tournament and the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Canucks needed Jacob Markstrom, as Thatcher Demko couldn't really hold on to the weight on his shoulders. The Canucks' 918 save percentage for Jacob Markstrom, and the workload he faces on a nightly basis, he's very, very good when he faces a lot of shots, but you can't rely on that every single game, can we? And he has been able to bail the Canucks out in a lot of poor defensive strategies. On the other end, the Wild have struggled in goal. Devin Dubnyk struggled a lot in net with an .890 save percentage. As the starter at the start of the year, he struggled mightily. But Alex Stalock emerged as the #1 goaltender, and he will likely start Game 1 for Minnesota, a .910 save percentage after all. Big things here are the Canucks need to keep their offense going. They have they have a lot of games where they shoot a lot, but they don't end up capitalizing, and they must be able to do this, as the Wild's defense is quite good. The Canucks need to be able to get through that defense. I know how much the Canucks struggle against the Wild in the regular season. We can all see that, and this is going to be a tough series for both teams. On paper, I would think that the Canucks look quite a bit better, but again, the Canucks need to play to their potential, as we all know they can, and with Jacob Markstrom in net, I don't see how the Canucks will lose this. So I will go with Vancouver in 4 games. I know, as a Canucks fan, I really want the Canucks to win, but this is based on fact-based check. This is not so much of my inner fan channeling. So don't worry about that. I'm making a very fair assumption here. But anyways, that's going to wrap up our preview here today. Game 1 will be on Sunday, August the 2nd in Edmonton at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, the late game. So stay tuned for that. You know, guys, sometimes you just gotta take a moment to vibe with the music. Let's vibe. Okay, let's stop being cringe and get into this. I'm sorry. This is our final play-in preview. This one is between the Arizona Coyotes and the Nashville Predators. Okay, here we go, everyone. As usual, we will go over the numbers first, and then we'll go over the storylines, all that great stuff you know. Okay, Nashville, 35, 26, and 8, 78 points. Their top 6 skaters are Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, Victor Arvidsson, Kyle Turris, Matt Duchene, and Mikael Granlund. Their top 4 D-men are Roman Josi, Ryan Ellis, Matthias Ekholm, and Dante Fabro. Their goaltenders is the star in the playoffs, the one who's so good right now, Pekka Rinne, and Jussi Saros as the backup. Their power play is 25th in the league with 17.3%. Penalty kill is 29th in the league, 76.1%. Arizona Coyotes on the other end are 33, 29, and 8, 74 points. Their top 6 skaters are Taylor Hall, Christian Dvorak, Connor Garland, Carl Soderberg, Nick Schmaltz, Phil the Thrill Kessel. I'm still not really used to Phil Kessel being in Arizona. You know, my kid brain is still focused that Phil Kessel is a Maple Leaf. Top 4 defensemen are Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Jason Demers, Jacob Chikrin, and Alex Goligoski. Their goaltenders, Darcy Kemper and Antti Ranta. Their power play, 19.2%, 18th in the league. Penalty kill percentage is 5th in the league at 82.7%. The season series is tied 1-1. Arizona outscoring the Predators 7-5. Okay, now we're done with the numbers. Let's go and do a few storylines here. Now, as you see here, both of these offensive units can be very... As you look at them, you think they're pretty darn good. They have a good amount of talent in their forward group. But both of these offensive units are very, very frustrating to watch sometimes. And that goals has not come easy for these two teams. However, the Predators have a little bit more success by the numbers. They have scored 3.07 goals per game. Is that true? I need to check my stats here because that seems a little high for the Predators. Goals for per game. No, that is actually true. 3.07 goals for per game. Wow. Can't believe that's 16th in the league, huh? And Arizona is 23rd in the league, 2.71. Predators, this is why it's frustrating. The Predators are 5th in shots per game, and Arizona is ranked 14th. That's why it's so frustrating for the Predators, because they don't score a particular whole lot, but they shoot a lot. With that in mind, it's very important to note that the Predators did experience offensive regression after John Hines took over as head coach in early January. They were a better team, but their offensive numbers took a dip. Maybe that was a good thing, even because that's how they got into 6th seed, I don't know. The Predators have only one forward, Philip Forsberg, who has over 20 goals this season. The Coyotes have struggled even more in their offense, and they've been going out of their way to add offensive playmakers like Phil Kessel and Taylor Hall to the front end of the lineup. Has that paid off? Maybe it has. Maybe it helped them, push them into being in the conversation for the playoffs. I don't believe they were going to make it, but at least they had a chance, right? Nick Schmaltz is Arizona's leading scorer with just 45 points in 70 games. The Coyotes only also have one 20-goal scorer this year, and it's Connor Garland. On defense, however, Nashville has leading Norris candidate in Roman Josi, and they have Ryan Ellis and Matthias Ekholm as well. They haven't been the top-tier defensive team they were known to be in years past with Shea Weber, but they've been very solid, and they rank 11th in goals against and 16th in shots against. The Coyotes, you wouldn't really expect it, but they've thrived in keeping their goals out of their own net, and they're tied for 3rd in goals against per game, but they do give up quite a fair amount of chances, 23rd in shots allowed. But that's probably also not helped by their inability to keep the offense going. So they're not scoring the goals to help Darcy Kemper, not scoring goals to help their defense. This is why the Coyotes have struggled immensely this year. Not scoring, even though their defense and goaltending have been spot on. They still can't win games, and Kemper should be stealing them for them. Still a very solid group on the blue line. It's pretty close there. Special teams, both teams have had their issues on the power play. Arizona much better, however, 18th in the league in the power play, 5th in the league in the penalty kill. However, the Predators' special teams have been one of the worst in the league, 25th in power play, 29th in penalty killing. Arizona clear advantage there. Arizona's goaltending has been excellent this year, and the Coyotes rank 3rd in collective save percentage, .919. Darcy Kemper has been at the front of the pack with a .928 save percentage, and he might have been a Vezina favorite if he didn't get injured during the season, which also in turn could have hurt the Coyotes. But you have to give credit to Antti Raanta and Aiden Hill, who's on the list here, for filling an admirably, and that the Coyotes were still in the playoff conversation at the shutdown of the league. They were still just a couple points off that 8th spot. On the other end, goaltending, major issue for the Predators this year. Pekka Rinne has had not a very good regular season, to say the least, an .895 save percentage. Now we all hope that Pekka Rinne will be very good in the playoffs. He's always been too good in the playoffs, and we need him to repeat that sort of thing, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we just hope for that? I don't know, can we rely on that? But Nashville has been bailed out by Jussi Saros, which should be their starter in the postseason unless John Hines has some miracle work for Pekka Rinne. But Pekka Rinne deserves a little bit, maybe. Jussi Saros took over the starting role from February and posted a .940 save percentage in his 16 appearances from February to March. This is a very tough series to predict, and as I look at the numbers here from goaltending and their special teams, it looks like Arizona has the edge, right? You can look at the goaltending, but you can look at also how sad that they are to be in this low position with such excellent goaltending. And that stems from their failure of offense. And the Nashville goaltenders might be subpar, but if the Coyotes can't score, that doesn't matter anymore. If they don't get those chances and get those goals in, the Predators, even with their lack of scoring, has a pretty good chance of beating out your goaltenders, even though they're very, very stellar. For that, this might be a little bit contradictory to the numbers and all that, but I am going to give the edge to Nashville. And I know a lot of you guys probably chose Nashville in your prediction, but as I look at the numbers closely, it's very tough for me to actually choose Nashville, but I will. No, choose them in 5 games, but best of 5, by the way, so best of 5 means going the distance. It's going to be very close. I do hope the Arizona Coyotes put up a great fight here, and they have a good chance of winning, and all the best to all these teams as I'm done my previews, all the best to all these 16 teams competing in the play-in tournament.